All right.
Alrighty.
We're back.
The awkward pause.
That's all right, man. So we did the last episode. We're doing a quick bonus episode, a little wrap up from the, from the last episode. We have a guest that we had introduced in the last one, but we didn't really get much of a chance to hear from him.
Alright.
Give it up for PJ Cole. The camera is crooked. There we go.
Straight.
We're here with
Alright.
PJ Cole, the newest member of the Florida Freedivers team. Welcome to the podcast yet again. For the technically the third time. You were with us last time.
Yes, but I
But
was not in front of the camera.
We
just
put you in the
behind
corner.
Behind the scenes.
Yeah. Sponsored, brought to you by Stella Artois. So today we're just gonna hear a little bit from PJ, listen to your diving history, man. So definitely welcome on, and why don't you give us a little brief history of when you started spearfishing and how you really got into freediving specifically,
Well,
real specific.
No names or no boat names.
yes, you gotta follow the rules. Gotta follow the rules.
Yeah.
Well, I was over in, I want to say, I was like 6 years old, and I went over to Chub Cay in the Bahamas for the first time. It was second or third time in the Bahamas. Done a lot of fishing there before, just like trolling and whatnot, bottom fishing, all that sort of stuff. And I had snorkel gear, like, you know, little baby fins, little baby mast, snorkel gear. And so
Perfect.
captain said, all right, jump in, go shoot something. And I'd seen my dad do it, my brother do it. And so I was all fired up on it. Little 3-foot yellow 3-prong pole spear, and jumped in. Coral head, that was probably 5 feet of water, and the coral head was sticking out of the water, and there were grunts all over that thing. And I remember like it was yesterday. I'd crank that thing back, go down, start slamming grunts left and right, and I got fired up on that. I was hooked ever since. And
Nice,
oh
dude.
yeah, and you know, kept with the pole spear for a while, and move over to sling, and
Good
oh
man.
yeah,
Good
yeah,
man.
Definitely.
sling.
That's
is-
like that's how people get into it right
Oh,
there.
yeah.
If you're like born and raised in Florida, chances are you started out by, or at least if your family got you into it, you started out by blasting grunts with a yellow
Oh,
3-prong.
yeah.
I mean, that's just how it goes.
Oh, yeah.
Your first year.
Stripe snapper and the gray ghost.
Oh, yeah.
Your first year is just swimming through a chum slick of wounded grunts and triggerfish.
and yellowtail, just
yeah.
oh, that was the best.
And
But,
the other thing too, like, you start with a 3-prong yellow pole spear, and then you upgrade to the sling.
Yeah.
I feel like at least all three of us have done that.
well,
Yeah.
for me, it was yellow 3-prong, yellow slip tip.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's a
I-
big move, dude.
I did work with that slip tip.
I didn't use a slip tip until like 2 years ago on the spear.
I did a little bit of flopper here and there. I wasn't landing fish like I wanted to.
Yeah.
I'd rip them all out and everything. Then switched over, got the slip tip, and it was a game changer. I started hammering fish.
Nice. By the way, dude, I just want to shout you out real quick. You're repping that ballast hat.
Ooh, the
Probably
ballast hat.
the crustiest
Oh,
ballast hat I have ever seen in my life.
Hey,
Probably
there-
the crustiest ballast hat in existence.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's legit.
But hey,
man.
If mine start looking half that bad, I'm like, pull a new one out. You know?
Yeah, but I mean, it gives it character, you know.
There you
It's
go.
been
For
through.
sure.
It's
no,
been.
it's a look now.
Oh yeah, it's been out of the country.
I don't think I'd recognize you without that little fray in the corner there.
Oh yeah, the little fray. It's been on the go kart track. I guess safe to say. You know, flew
Nice.
off like going hammering the go kart track. Flew off, and then I had to run out while everyone's driving out there and pick it up. And it's got a little road mark over here somewhere, and the fray. But you know,
thing's legit,
you
dude.
gotta rep the ballast, man.
There you go.
Definitely. Yeah.
There you go.
It's weird if you don't see me with this hat on in a casual environment.
I don't think I've ever seen you without a hat on, and I don't think I've ever seen you without that hat on.
All right.
There you
Well,
go.
Like,
other than
for
when
real.
other than work, I'm wearing like a nice Florida Freedivers hat because I don't want to wear this crusty thing out.
Have you
Or-
you wore a Florida Freedivers hat here the other
Yeah,
day?
the Bahamas one,
Oh,
like
nice.
the Bahamas colors. Yeah, it's still a little bit crusty, but not like this.
I didn't even notice, dude.
Oh yeah, but yeah, if I'm just hanging out doing whatever, I am wearing this hat. You can count on it.
Nice.
But
Awesome.
yeah, so going back, switched to the sling when I was 10, 11 years old,
Strong
maybe.
enough to pull it back. Time to switch
Oh
to the
yeah.
sling. you
Oh
know?
yeah. I mean, you're still
Like the
weak.
coming of age. I'm a
Oh.
teenager now. I can pull a
Oh,
sling back.
I haven't been more excited to just grab that sling because I'd see my dad and my brother just start hammering fish with that. I'm like, that looks way more cool than to sit there just doing that
for
stuff.
Sure.
And so I grabbed it. Like I was so stoked on bow and arrows and everything. So I whipped that back and I was missing fish and everything, but got it dialed in, started hitting fish. And then when I was, I want to say 13 or 14, saved up a bunch of money from birthday and Christmas and stuff, and pulled the trigger on the first gen Gorilla Sling, and
There you go, dude.
game over.
Been repping it ever since, too.
Oh
that,
my gosh.
The OG aluminum Gorilla
Oh,
Sling.
the OG aluminum silver Gorilla Sling. You don't
Heck
see
yeah.
them as much anymore, but I'm still wearing fish with that.
Everybody I know that's ever shot one wants that one over the wood one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Yep.
Everybody that's ever used one.
Yeah.
And
And
it is. I like it better. It
I-
fits your hand better.
oh yeah, I've shot my buddy's wood one, and it's not the same.
Yeah.
Not the
It's
same.
way better. You can
Yeah.
just grip it better. I like that you can move the grip on it like
Yeah.
forward and back.
You adjust
Way
it.
easy to attach all sorts of freaking stuff to it.
Oh yeah.
I could care less if it sinks or floats.
Yeah.
I guess I could care less that it sinks.
Yeah.
Every sling I've ever owned, it was like dense wood and stainless steel.
Oh yeah. And honestly, I find it more troubling to have a floating sling because say you shoot a fish and you're in a rock, you let go of the sling, it goes up, drifts away, there goes the sling. If you have a sinking one, you're in a rock like grabbing a grouper, just put it on the sand and it's staying there, and you know
Yeah.
exactly where it is.
That I can't tell you how many times exactly that's happened. I've
Oh,
thought that
yeah.
I've like put my arm through it and I'm
No.
fighting a fish and something's happened where it's like worked its way. I get to the top of the fish, it's not around my arm anymore.
Oh yeah.
And you think, oh, it's floating. It'll be like right here. The guy in the boat saw it. Or,
No.
no,
A
gone.
little piece
It's
of wood
gone.
that big, you're
Yeah.
not gonna see it
No.
floating.
Yeah.
No.
One of my favorite slings is just the straight up wood dowel.
Oh yeah.
One definitely hands down one of my
For
favorite
sure.
slings,
Yeah.
and one of the most effective slings, I think.
Mhm.
But every single one I've owned, I've lost.
And I will say that wood dowel is a hell of a sling.
Yeah.
You know, you can.
Classic.
People are like, oh, you know, I want a reel. I have a reel on that wooden dowel
Yeah,
sling.
you
Oh
can
yeah.
put a reel
you can,
on it.
You
It
can
doesn't-
slap
You
a
can
reel on there.
absolutely put a reel on that thing. That wooden dowel sling, and it's not a big fat wooden dowel. It's not like the Biller
The best
varnish
Bahama.
one. Not the
Yeah.
best of the Bahamas. I'm talking about that like wooden peg of a freaking
The fat boy.
Yeah.
the fatty.
You can't fit your hand around
With the
the whole
rubber
thing.
tied around the middle. That's
Yep.
the key. You
Yeah.
don't want the rubber like right at the back. You want
No.
the rubber like midway in it.
Or even tied like in front in the middle. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, if
all
anything.
as far up as you can get
yeah.
it.
That
Or
is-
two of them stacked together if you're Chad. Remember that?
Yeah,
Oh,
we were
yeah.
crossing to the Bahamas one time, and it was a pretty snotty crossing, and we're in like a 20-something foot contender. So the boat was handling it, but I mean, it's like it's a contender. Like you're not worried about it being sinking, but it's not like the most pleasant ride ever, and it's a little wet, you know. So and I'm driving, we're just we're just ripping through it. I look back, and Chad is like, you know, I don't want to say how old Chad is. He ain't no spring chicken. I'll say it like that. He's in the back trying to tie these two freaking slings together, and just every wave is just nailing them on both sides, directly to the face, and he's just eating it. And he's holding
Directly
it
into the eyeballs.
directly into that. He's got the string in his mouth, and he's holding it in between his legs, and he's ripping on it, and like, it's how long is it in that kind of weather? It takes you 3 hours to get to West End. For 3 hours, he was ripping on these two slings, and he finally gets the two slings together, and I'm like, well, couldn't you just taken the rubber off of the bottom one and run it and just use it like that? Well, you know, no, you gotta like lash the two slings together somehow. Hey,
But
Chad.
but it
shout out
ripped.
Chad though.
Yeah.
It ripped.
Chad's an actual legend.
Oh,
Yeah.
Chad's an actual legend.
I mean, he told my buddy and I that he free shafts Wahoo, and I don't know. He's like, I mean, you either lose a shaft or you get a good shot at it, or
And
you
he
lose a shaft.
his free shafted a wahoo and kingfish.
Yeah.
All kinds of stuff.
He's
Oh.
a free shot biller
He's
with
the-
a biller.
with a
Yeah.
biller.
With a biller.
He's the king of free shafting.
He's a king of biller free shafting. He's a West Coast guy that's big on the West Coast. he's all about free shafting. No, you'll never see him with like a reel.
No.
And he's like speed load. Well, you can speed load it, you know. So he's like double tapping fish and like legit bang bang. Like that's how fast it takes him to like reload and hit a fish again. It's pretty freaking wild.
I've listened to him talk to people, and he's like trying to convince them that free shafting is the way, and they're like, "Well, what if you shoot a fish and it just swims away?" It's like, you shoot it again. And the guy's like, "Well, what if it's you shoot it again, and you shoot it again, and you shoot it again?"
He's got
like,
just a quiver of freaking shafts on his back.
I've seen one of his guns, and it's just like a straight U of shafts underneath it. It's awesome.
No, he's awesome, and he's like dove the Bahamas Art Pinder. Like, you want to talk about real engines? Art Pinder, free shafted a sailfish with a Hawaiian sling. I mean,
that's nuts.
The king of sling.
The king of the sling. He is the king of the sling. So he's gotten dive with like actual like legit people. I love to bust Chad's balls, but working with him was definitely a highlight, and learning the history. Somebody could bring in the most random spear gun, and not only could he tell you all about it, but the whole history of it. And we've talked about Chad before, but yeah, he is a cool guy, man.
For sure.
He's a cool guy.
Wealth of knowledge.
A wealth of knowledge.
But besides getting back to PJ, we get sidetracked so easily.
Oh
man.
yeah, I
it
realized.
is what it is. But so you've done a lot of Bahamas diving.
A lot.
Grew up using pole spears and slings. What at what point did you start getting into some spear guns, diving like the Keys? I think you've done some Keys diving, stuff like that, and around here.
A little bit of key stuff,
Cool.
But like I said, I was in the Keys. I was using pole spear or sling.
Nice.
I mean, I grew up using it. I didn't want to change anything.
Yeah.
But I want to say when I was 13th or 14th birthday, I got a AV Biller 36 special, and I was stoked on that.
There it is, dude.
Whenever Norman's Wreck off Jupiter, classic spot just to go look at stuff.
Sure.
The next generation of Chad.
For sure.
That wasn't free shafting though. I had a shooting one. I had a shooting one. But yeah, just shooting like little mangroves and stuff, just messing around with that, and just kept working with that, you know. And then go back to like the sling. I definitely leaned more towards sling, but hey, if I want to shoot the gun, I could. And then what really hooked me was my buddy called me one day. He's like, "Yo, let's go shoot some dolphin." I'm like, "All right." I mean, I want to say 15, and I was like, "Okay, yeah, sure, let's go." And I didn't have any, like my brother had a regular standard 110 Rob Allen tuna standard gun, and that was his, and I had my little
go-to gun around here, man.
Oh yeah, I mean,
like literally that exact gun, the 110 Rob Allen.
And
everyone has had one.
And yeah, I mean, it's a great gun. I love it. I know I've done a little stuff to it now that kind of giving it to me, but it's still a classic gun. But I had my little 36 special biller, and we trolling around offshore. It was like probably 10 o'clock, and bam, rods go off. Little schoolie dolphin, jump in, start just hammering dolphin with that little gun. No reel, no float line, no nothing. Just start hammering little schoolie with that. I'm like, all right, this is killer. And, yeah,
it is so much fun shooting dolphin.
Oh
man.
my gosh, and I was hooked, and so
it's so much fun. And not that I'm like trying to steal steam away from here, but it's so much fun because it's so easy.
Yeah,
oh,
you know,
the first dolphin. I have a video of it. They're the first dolphin I shot. I was reloading my gun, restringing everything, and I had a dolphin literally kick me in the face. I'm like, what? Like, all right. And then I turn and look, and it's from me to Rodman. I had to back up and shoot like that to get it. And I mean, I hammered that thing.
Yeah,
and
dude,
so,
they're so much fun, so easy.
And
it's honestly a great first fish for someone.
oh yeah,
yeah.
Because you don't. It's
And
wild diving blue water. Like people are intimidated by that, but it's. I mean, if you can get over that part of it, it's so easy to shoot one.
And I definitely wouldn't suggest free shafting. And that was my rule forever was because I wanted to justify using a gun. Because growing up, same thing. Shooting like Keys, Bahamas, it was slinger pole spear. If you're using a gun, you're
soft. Yeah.
You're soft. Exactly. So it was, all right, I had to come up with some rule to justify it in my head. And I was like, well, I can't touch the bottom there. So if I can't touch the bottom, I'll use a gun. If I can touch the bottom, slinger or pole spear.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's because I was fired up to go shoot dolphin, man.
Yeah.
And it was It was the same thing. It was so much fun, and people get intimidated by it. Like, people, I'm trying to get into blue water. Like, what should I do? I'm like, well, do you own a gun? Yeah. Do you have a reel or float line? I definitely suggest a reel or float line.
Yeah.
Reel.
A reel. I definitely suggest a reel. And the trajectory that I see most people do is they'll start out with a float line just because it's cheaper.
Yeah.
They'll throw like a milk jug on some like dock line, you know, or something that they already have.
Oh yeah, I'd polyball in a 30-foot dock line.
Yeah, exactly. And then they'll like transition to reel and then back to a proper float line setup. Yeah. Because they're then going to chase wahoo or something like that. Although I'm double reel for life. Forget a float line. But what I'm saying is, it's super easy. You know, people are always and super intimidated by it, and I'm like, this is easy. Do you dive the reef? Yeah. Have you ever shot a snapper on the reef? Yeah. Shooting dolphin is way easier than that.
So much.
much. And shooting anything, like, you either can shoot them or you can't. There's no like games to play. Like,
no.
Throw a flasher out. You want to slow them down. Throw a flasher out there. But really, it's if you can see them, you can pretty much blast them.
Yeah, dude,
you know.
I've shot them with like lionfish pole spears.
Yeah, like you can touch them. There's no hiding. They're not really afraid. They'll come up to, especially dolphin. They'll come right up to you.
Oh my god!
But really anything out there, wahoo's like the cagiest of them all. But anything like that, cobia, you know, we get a lot of cobia, a lot of dolphin out here.
Yeah.
But kingfish, you see a couple different kinds of species out there. You can pretty much blast them with anything, and it's usually pretty shallow diving. Diving the reef around here starts at about 40 feet.
Yeah.
If I'm diving pelagic, I'm rarely diving to 40 feet. You know, like that's the deep stuff is the 40 feet. I think it's way more approachable, and I'm surprised there's not as many people doing it out here as there are, given how many people go to the Bahamas.
Yeah.
You know, we get thousands of people around here that go to the Bahamas.
One of my favorite kind of people that come into the store here at Florida Freedivers, the guys that march in. You can already tell, like, they're just feeling like they're the shit. And like, man, like, ask them about their diving, what kind of diving they do. Like, man, I pretty much just go out, solely dive blue water, crush the mahi. Like, nice, dude.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I'm probably one of the best around. You know, we crush the mahi. Like, sweet, dude. Definitely one of the best.
We shot 5 schoolies. It's pretty dope.
And it's because not that many people do it. They can get away with that because they'll go to a dinner party and say that, and everyone's like, "What?"
Yeah, they got a picture of them with like,
in 1,000 feet of water swimming around.
Oh my! I couldn't tell you how many people text me. Wait, you shot a dolphin?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. It's just so hard.
The biggest dolphin I ever shot, my snorkel was still out of the water. Like I just swam over to it and shot it.
Exactly.
You know?
yeah, which is
Most
what makes them so fun. You know?
Oh, yeah.
And they look awesome in the water. You see that like the green and yellow, blue polka dot, and you're like, how does everything not eat these? Well, everything does eat those, but in the water, like that camo actually kind of works. If they're swimming like straight at you,
oh, you're not seeing them.
You're not seeing them. Like that's pretty good. I'll actually make like a little dive, like a 10, 15 foot dive, and look up, and they look just look like black snakes swimming around a weed line. And then, all right, they're because the school like kind of come in and then drift out, come in and drift out.
Exactly.
And sometimes when they're like in defense mode or I guess hiding mode, they light up like pure blue, and you almost cannot see them. At all.
Oh.
Yeah. That's a good point. They can flex their colors. It's wild. It's wild how fish can change their colors like that.
Yeah. I mean, I find myself sometimes like sitting there like, is that a dolphin? And no, just like, even though I know we haven't seen any that day, and I'm just like double taking, like just looking blue water and asking myself if those are dolphin.
They do look cool, man. And they make great video too.
Oh yeah.
You know,
because the light's so good. You're right at the surface.
You're right at the surface.
The
you got like
fantastic,
pure blue underneath you with like sun streaks and like sargassum weed, and then dolphin looks sick in video. So it just looks good in video, man.
Yeah,
they're cool
awesome.
fish for sure.
One
but
fish
they're fun.
One fish I want to get on video is the wahoo. I can't get over the wahoo videos. Just people filming them.
It is cool. So big mohawk in the water.
Oh
stripes.
I just want to shoot one, man. I just want to shoot one.
Me, I'm right here with you, man. I mean, first time like me running the whole show offshore. we had like a probably 40-pounder come in on us, and of course, me and all my buddies, we dive bomb straight to it and completely cook it up, and it takes off. And so I've been on a mission ever since. And
10 people trying to flap on the surface.
oh
like,
my gosh,
Class 5
Bro, like,
rapids.
it's down 30 feet. So I want to say someone shot from the surface, just and I'm just like, dude, like, come on.
Shafts flying over your shoulder. It was like,
Yeah. But oh yeah, and then yeah, we
I'm telling
buddy
you.
of mine stuck one, and ever since I've had a couple come in, but just haven't been able to get a good shot on one.
they're tough, man.
They are tough.
I'm on that Bahamas Sling Wahoo program. Heavy.
Heavy.
All I'm doing is this winter or this spring now is setting the gear up to go blast a freaking Wahoo in the Bahamas with a sling.
Call me.
Yeah, I'm ready. Sling to a reel on the sling to a float line. I think is the way
Yep.
the way to do it. Just in case I get into something heavy.
Yeah.
Or
Are,
like,
are you going?
have your
Like,
buddy swimming
straight-
around with the
straight-
float line.
Straight to the corner. Just
Yeah.
diving that rolling, just like we did with Dibs. That same strategy, but on the
You'll definitely see him.
yeah.
You know, you'll
Yeah.
definitely see him. There's Dane Ralph had a sick picture on his
Oh.
Instagram of him
Oh.
lined up
Oh,
on
with
a
the sea
big
archer?
wahoo.
Yeah, with
That
sea archer.
that picture was so killer
Yeah.
when I first
She was
saw
thick too.
That was a
Oh,
big
yeah.
fish.
She was thick.
That was wide.
Good man for not letting it fly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like, hey, I don't think I have it. I don't want to just rip
Mm.
this thing out.
Mm.
But I'll get another shot. And Dane will get another shot because Dane's he's a stud. But
Yeah, Dane's a better man than me, dude.
yeah, crazy. But yeah, I want to get into that program
Yeah.
right there. Going down to Key West, not making it happen. I'm fired up to make it happen.
Just
So that's
that was the
like-
first time you'd seen one in the water,
yeah,
right?
Yeah,
Just
I'm
seeing
fired
them,
up.
like, they're pretty cool fish.
yeah,
You know, you
So-
think dolphin are cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
Nah. Wahoo is a whole nother level, man.
Wait, you hadn't seen one before
No,
Key West, really?
no, yeah, I was stoked.
Oh
I was
man,
stoked.
that first trip, that dolphin trip I was telling you guys about, I saw 3 at about 80 feet under me, and I was like, oh man, these are wahoo.
Well,
And
good for you, man.
yeah,
There you
I was
go.
I was convinced both you had like at least a half a dozen under your belt.
No,
I mean, I've seen plenty so far. I've seen more
can't
than
make it
Rodman,
happen.
but I haven't been able to connect with one.
Yeah,
Man,
But I've probably seen 10.
yeah,
Yeah.
It-
I've seen a couple schools, which is cool. I
that's
saw a
cool.
school of 7 fish one time. That was epic.
Where at?
Right straight out of here, right off
Really?
of Palm Beach. Yeah.
And you couldn't get a shot on one
I shot at one,
with what gun?
the Seawolf.
so the thing was what, 30 feet from you, 50 feet from you?
exactly.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, so-
By the time I pulled the trigger, I knew I wasn't going to connect. I was just letting it fly because
Yeah.
I felt like I had to.
Yeah.
That's
So
cool.
mostly dive in the Bahamas. You say you go to Chubb. Is that where like you're based out of? You mostly go to Chubb, West End,
Ooh.
Grand.
Well,
Spread it around.
ever since like when I was little, I used to go on the trips with my buddies and everything, and we go like Chubb, Great Harbor, like of course Nassau. We're all little kids, all we want to do is go to Nassau. Actually got a chance to go down the Exumas,
It's awesome.
and that was killer.
The land and sea park there is freaking wild,
Oh my
man.
gosh.
Wild.
It is.
Shot my biggest grouper out of there. No,
Oh.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, it's wild there because there's such big fish that just
Oh yeah.
will just swim up to you out of there. You know.
Oh yeah.
It is.
I remember.
It's really cool what just taking a little bit of pressure off
Mm-hmm.
will do. You
Oh,
know?
yeah,
'Cause
it's-
there are like legit
Big ol'
monsters that
fish.
just aren't afraid of you. There,
Yeah.
it's crazy. We yeah, never mind.
But
but
I did all that when I was like little, but then we actually got my boat, the 31 Island Runner.
all
And
right.
it's killer boat. I love it. We got that, and we got it dialed in. And we got more as family got more experience. We started making runs in the boat, and started off like day trips. I wasn't old enough then, but dad and brother and all their buddies and everything started doing day trips, and then about 10 or something, and made my first boat trip in our boat over down to Bimini then stayed a night or two in Bimini, and then crossed Northwest Providence Channel and hit Lucaya there for a little bit. Then went
Nice.
home and just hit gingerbread grounds in
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Shot my first hawkfish on that trip, so I was stoked about that.
Dude, the gingerbread grounds holds fish, man.
Yeah,
Gingerbread's
definitely.
is sick.
Gingerbread's
That's fun,
awesome.
man.
We shot
That's
some
fun.
big hogfish out there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But,
And it's just fun diving. Like I like that style of diving. A lot of sea fans and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Hot water though.
Yeah.
it is hot water, but I mean, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
sick diving.
Diving in a
for
hot
sure.
tub, that's killer.
Yeah, I remember diving the first and only time I've dove there, like 50 feet and just massive coral heads.
Yeah.
And one after another, as many as you could hit in a day. There's 10 times that amount. They're
Yeah.
just one after another, and they're like probably like the size of this building.
Yeah.
Huge, and maybe 20, 30, 40 feet of relief on some of these things. It was incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was wild.
Well, when you see just a massive brain coral, that's just like one massive coral.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah,
like a
one head.
perfect bubble of brain coral. That's
Yeah.
always really cool.
Yeah.
But you can pull grouper out of those things. You can pull all sorts of and big fish. That's what's so cool about the Bahamas too. Is you can go. The biggest grouper I ever shot was in like 20 feet of water.
Mhm.
It was like a 60-pounder maybe, and it was in just super shallow water.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy.
I mean, I haven't shot any like the big group or anything. I got my numbers,
It's just getting
but
there.
haven't even gotten to see
Eric,
one.
Eric and I got a spot called Wombat. When the weather settles down, man, I don't know what it is, but you'll pull a big grouper out of there, give it some time, and a big grouper will come back. Like I don't know if it's just like the best house on the block, so like the
Yeah.
residents are gonna move in.
We call
Or
it
what?
wombat. There is another name for it. though.
There's another name for it. We'll leave it at Wombat.
Yeah,
Um,
that's what we're calling it.
That's what we're calling it. But dude, it's a sick spot. It's a
Yeah.
sick spot, and I don't know why. Like, there'll always be. There's a ton of mutton that are. It's a little bit deeper, but there's a ton of mutton that are around.
God, remember that time we dove it? I think it was the time that we saw that big grouper there,
Yeah,
and it was just so many mutton snapper you couldn't see past them.
yeah, it was crazy.
Like they were spawning, obviously, but mutton snapper and dog snapper, big dog snapper everywhere. I mean, like some of the biggest dog snapper I've ever seen.
I was reviewing. I don't know what to say. We didn't have the podcast going at the time, so it wasn't like I was reviewing. But just working here, we try out, and you'll see you try out a ton of different gear.
Mhm.
So a company had manufactured a slip tip sling shaft.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm all fired up on the sling.
The headhunter one.
Yeah. No, this was a hammerhead.
It was a prototype one.
Prototype.
Oh, gotcha.
And man, I poked so many holes that day and just could not make it happen. And I don't know if that was user error or what, but
That's why it's a prototype.
yeah, I was fired up on making it happen. And it was just Saren driving the boat that day. It was Eric and I and my wife, and
Shout
so-
out Saren.
this
Legend.
fucking
Legend.
and so Saren's running the boat all day and was I don't think the baby was with us.
No.
But Saren's running the boat and I couldn't make it happen. Saren's like, you guys can't make it happen. Let's go swim with dolphin. And so we went and looked for dolphin on the bank, which
Found a dolphin.
them. Like porpoise,
Couple
and
dolphin.
found the porpoise, which was awesome. Ate lunch, went back. We chased around a big grouper for a while, but dude, that spot, for whatever reason, you pull a big grouper out of there, and
It's the best spot I've ever dove in West End for sure.
yeah,
The fishiest spot at least.
the fishiest spot.
Every time I've been there, there's been big fish.
It's hard. It's hard to get a good spot like that in West
Yeah.
End now.
It
'cause,
is freaking tough, man.
I mean,
And we got a bunch of spot. What's funny about West End too is like you'll be on a spot, especially if you go like on a weekend, and a weekend, any weekend during the summer doesn't have to be like Memorial Day, just a weekend during the
Yeah.
summer. You'd be like, all right, we'll skip the first spot. There's a boat on it. Let's go to the second spot. There's a boat on it. Let's go to the third spot.
Yeah.
There's a boat on it.
All right, let's go to Matinee. Oh, it looks like Palm Beach on a Saturday when it's 15 knot winds. Like
It's crazy.
it's bad.
It's crazy. What's worse too is, man, you all still fly a dive flag up there, and you still have jagaloons running past you. Everyone's here
On
to go.
autopilot.
Everyone's here to
Yeah.
go diving. You know, like give me some like run it deeper on, calmer on the bank or calmer, depending on which way the wind's blowing, or calmer off the bank. Run where it's easier to run,
Exactly.
and don't run straight over my divers.
Dude's
Ridiculous.
running 60 miles an hour over there on autopilot with like the cowlings off, pumping oil into the.
It's crazy.
Oh yeah, man.
It's crazy. But yeah, I freaking I love it down there. So are you still sling or pole spear?
Oh, 100% sling.
Nice.
I'm
What
not-
you still running that original gorilla?
Oh yeah. Oh
Dude,
yeah.
that
I mean,
gorilla is freaking solid. All right.
Not only that, and I know we got to wrap up in a second here because we're pushing 30. We said we were going to do 15, but you know how that goes.
we get carried away.
Not only are you running the original gorilla sling, you've modified the thing to have a line release on it.
Yeah, it's still in the works. Like I had prototype, whatever you want to call it. I had.
It's
one.
always going to be a prototype.
Oh yeah, it's always gonna be, but a prototype for me. But
Prototype
anyway,
Mark II
yeah,
is what you're
exactly.
on.
I'm working on it right now.
Working on Mark III.
Yeah, just to try to put nothing but aluminum, stainless components in there. I don't want any more rust. No, but make it a little more effective, less,
Yeah,
make it better.
Dude, that
sick.
rust was what was making that line release a line release. Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna work without the rust on there.
Oh, man.
No, that was it. That was pretty slick, man. Eric's line release is like money.
That one's
your,
killer.
Yeah, your line release though, it absolutely worked, and it's way better than being a ribbon dancer out there with all your real line.
Oh,
floating
that
around.
I couldn't tell you how many times I'd get my line caught in if I'm chasing a mutton, so I strip out a little bit more line on my
Yeah.
reel and then get caught in my fin. And
Yeah.
I actually have a video of it happening to me. I'm following a mutton. You see me strip more line out. You see me go down, and you see me pull back on a mutton, and it goes, just barely makes it out of the sling, and then I just turn around. It's all caught up in my fin. But
Yeah, that's
One
sick,
of
man.
one of my least favorite fish stories of myself is same kind of deal, man. Pulling line off the reel. I'd like done the perfect stalk on this cubera, and had the thing coming up the water column at me. I've told this story 5 million times on the podcast because it's like my favorite story.
it's a cool stuff, man.
My favorite but least favorite. And the thing's coming up the water column, and I just make the perfect dive on him. Didn't look him in the eyes until like I finally turned and met the cubera, you know.
You met your match.
And I pull back on the thing, and it is well within sling range. Let it fly, and all the reel lines wrapped around my wrist and the pistol grip, and the shaft doesn't even come out of the sling.
Oh,
I was
man.
pissed. And the cubera didn't even flinch.
So-
It saw it go down. It was just like, man, get off my turf. Like, and just like slowly turns and cruises away.
The craziest footage I've seen is
was pissed.
Jonathan had it like his reel like bind or it caught the reel something, and he
on
shot
the
it
cubera.
and it ripped the sling out of his hand. So like the shaft and the sling both like took off. It like pulled the sling forward.
Yeah.
It didn't go that far, but dude, it's crazy. Like he just lost everything. If he had connected with the fish and the fish had taken off, like
Yeah.
well, there goes $200, $300 worth of stuff. You know.
That's why a lot of times I wear like a 1 meter like bungee attached straight to the band and then attached to my belt.
Yeah.
So I'm like I'm attached to it, but not like where I can just open it up and take it off so I don't get
There you
taken
go.
down. But
Cool.
yeah, especially like blue water stuff. Because I have
Perfect.
shot a dolphin with the sling.
There you
That
go.
Whole setup.
Nice,
Yeah.
man.
It's killer.
Well, I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up from there, just so we're not keeping you too late here. But
Newest member of the staff of Florida Freedivers, PJ Cole. You got some sling questions? You going to the Bahamas? Check this guy out.
PJ is our resident sling expert now.
There you go.
I like that.
But thanks for coming on tonight, man. I'm sure we're gonna have you around in future episodes as well.
Alrighty.
And we'll see the viewers in the next one.
Alrighty.
Peace.
Peace.